Sarah had a plan. 10 years in Sydney's inner west, a decent job in marketing, a good credit history. And this month, her landlord told her the rent was going up by another $60 a week. "It's not that I can't budget," she said. "It's that the number keeps moving and I never get to catch up." She's not alone, not even close. Because right now, Australia's rental market isn't just tight, it's rewriting its own record books, week after week, city after city. Here's the headline number. According to Domain's latest quarterly rent report released this week, the median weekly asking rent for houses across Australia's capital cities has hit an all-time high of $700. That's a jump of almost 3% in just the June quarter alone, and 7.7% over the past year, the fastest annual pace of growth the country has seen in almost 2 years. Regional house rents climbed too, up to $610 a week. But the real story is happening inside the capital cities, where demand has completely outstripped supply. And nowhere is that more obvious than Sydney. Sydney's median weekly house rent has now reached $850. That's up from $800 just 1 quarter earlier, a 6.3% jump in 3 months. Domain says that's the strongest quarterly growth Sydney has recorded in 4 years. 4 years! Unit rents in the harbour city aren't far behind, climbing 4% to a record $780 a week. Domain's chief of research, Nicola Powell, called the scale of the jump exceptional. And when you consider Sydney's vacancy rate is sitting near 1%, it's easy to see why landlords have so much room to keep pushing prices higher. But Sydney isn't fighting this battle alone. Darwin has quietly become the most extreme rental market in the country. Over the past year, Darwin house rents surged 9.2%, the largest annual increase of any capital city, pushing the median to $699 a week. In the June quarter alone, Darwin unit rents jumped an eye-watering 8.3% to $650. Darwin's vacancy rate? A record-shattering 0.1%. Basically, there is nothing left to rent. Brisbane and Canberra riding the same wave, both posting some of the sharpest quarterly increases in the country, while Perth, after 2 quiet quarters, came roaring back with its strongest rental lift since December 2022, pushing house rents to a record $740 a week. Perth unit rents weren't far behind, up 5.3% to a record $695, the largest quarterly gain of any capital city. And Perth's vacancy rate? Just 0.3% in March, one of the tightest markets in the entire country. Meanwhile, capital city unit rents overall told a more restrained story, edging up just 0.7% over the June quarter to a median of $680 a week. That's a much gentler climb than houses managed, and it's a hint that the two sides of the rental market, houses and units, are no longer moving in lockstep the way they used to. So what's actually driving this? Analysts point to a perfect storm of factors. Vacancy rates are sitting near historic lows in almost every capital city, well under the 2% mark that's generally considered a genuinely tight market. Rental listings nationally are running around 18% below their 5-year average, according to CoreLogic, with the shortage most severe in Sydney and Melbourne, where available stock is more than a quarter below long-term norms. Population growth, sticky household costs, and a housing construction pipeline that simply hasn't kept pace have all collided at once. And here's a detail that's easy to miss but genuinely important. According to Domain, landlords appear to have moved quickly to lift asking rents in the wake of recent federal government changes to negative gearing and capital gains tax settings. Nicola Powell noted that as clarity emerged around those proposed housing investment policy changes, many landlords appear to have responded by increasing asking rents. In other words, this isn't just about bricks and mortar. Policy expectations are now shaping pricing decisions in real time. What does all of this mean for the people actually living through it? According to CoreLogic's rental review, Australian households are now spending a record 33.1% of their gross median income on rent. Compare that to just 26.2% back in September 2020. Courtality's head of research, Gerard Berg, pointed out that 5 years of sustained rental growth have added an estimated $202 a week to the typical household's rent commitment. Nationally, renters are now paying around $12,480 more per year than they were just 5 years ago. $12,000! That's not a rounding error. That's a second car, a house deposit contribution, a year of groceries. Gone. Here's the thing, though. This isn't some sudden shock that appeared out of nowhere. This has been building for years. Rents have been climbing more or less relentlessly since the pandemic, and in some capital cities, they've added as much as $300 a week to tenants' bills over that stretch. What changed recently isn't the direction, it's the speed. After a period of cooling through 2024 and into mid-2025, the growth rate has re-accelerated, and re-accelerated hard. Is there any relief coming? It's complicated, genuinely complicated. Home building activity has actually picked up. Housing commencements were around 12% higher over the past year, helped along by lower interest rates and low unemployment. But the Housing Industry Association's senior economist, Tom Devitt, has warned that Australia needs roughly 250,000 new home builds every year on a sustained basis just to start addressing the existing shortfall. And current construction, while improving, still isn't tracking to hit that target. Western Australia, Queensland, South Australia, and the Northern Territory are leading the improvement in building volumes, but it takes years for new supply to actually show up as available rental stock. There's also a genuinely interesting twist unfolding right now. Australia's rental market is splitting into two distinct speeds. In Sydney, Darwin, Brisbane, and Canberra, rents are still accelerating, even though conditions were already tight, suggesting landlords in those cities feel they still have room to push higher. But in Melbourne, Adelaide, Perth, and Hobart, growth has become noticeably more subdued, even though vacancy rates remain near rock bottom.